All right, everybody, we're going to try to do something really fun now. If you listened to the Pro Tips episode where we talked about this comic, you heard us both through the ideation process. We did all kinds of fun permutations of this idea, finally landed on a punchline that we really liked, and then we both had kind of different ideas for execution.
Yep.
So we decided it would be fun to both of us kind of take it and execute it. Neither one of us has seen what the other one has done, and today we're going to do kind of a reaction video when we show each other what we've come up with for the very first time.
I love it. Let's do it. Oh, that's delightful. The teeth, the chewing on the leaf is so key. Oh,
Now that we're kind of really pulling back the curtain, I also want to post my time lapse video because this
oh,
guy went through about five different permutations from very realistic to not so realistic to somewhere in the middle.
right.
He had a lot of different versions before I finally landed on him.
This is really solid. So let's talk about what really works. First of all, the caterpillar, just on a basic cartooning level, has such goofiness and joyfulness. Like that whole face from profile, the little eye closed, the overdone teeth, the hands chomping on the leaf, the extraneous arm that's doing nothing, which I find super charming.
Yep.
Just the odd body shape that is a caterpillar trying to sit in a bar stool. That's delightful. What's funny is you and I did kind of a very similar approach to how he would sit, which is funny.
Yeah, with the feet up. Like it's almost he's sitting and reclining at the same
Yeah,
time, which
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought was fun.
The two butterflies being the main focal point of, and I say that because mine has a much wider pullback shot, and
Yeah.
this really works though as far as like butterfly, butterfly, caterpillar. You know exactly what you're getting here. This is really also the stools are great and not at all a copy and paste job of the same stool drawn
Not at all.
five times. Not at all. I want the world on
Bink,
record.
bink, bink.
I want the world on record to say, and don't you dare, as if you're a connoisseur of cartooning, don't you dare look at those alcohol bottles up on the shelf and start to compare them
No,
because
no.
I want you to know some of them got recolored, and that's
Yeah,
what's important.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
not all the same color, so that's
What,
great.
what do I always say? Life is too short to spend a whole lot of time drawing
It's true.
backgrounds.
It's true. And listen, for the average reader, they're not even going to look at the stools, or
No.
they're gonna acknowledge it somewhere in their brain as contextual to a bar, and
Yeah.
then that's it. So also the leaf is the plate of leaves is just delightful. The unnecessary shoes, fantastic. I love it. I love the by the way, the profile of the first butterfly
Yeah.
is feminine. There's no argument, but that's it. The butterfly, but it's also feminine. Really well done. And
Thank you.
not for nothing, those are hard wings to draw, and you nailed it. That was
Yeah.
really well done.
I brought in reference for that. And I also I'm talking about the permutations this sketch went through right up until the very last minute. Those two on the left had bug eyes, like really big, bulbous, compound
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
eyes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just before I finished it, I'm like, those eyes are not emoting. They're more accurate. They're the kind of eyes that a bug would have, but
Right.
they weren't emoting. So I ditched them and gave them more cartoony eyes. And I think I keep doing like an A B, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off.
Yep,
And
yep, yep, yep.
I think that one was kind of the best I could do.
Yeah, I think you thread the needle really well there.
Yeah.
And I especially love I don't know if that's called proboscis or whatever the little
Yeah.
nose thing. Is it called proboscis? I don't
I
know.
think you're right. Yeah.
But that is delightful and very cartoony, and yet here's the thing. We were talking about this with Scott C the other day, that drawing simple is hard. And
Yeah.
these are very simple caterpillars, which is hard, or butterflies, which is hard to do. Brother, you nailed it. This is great.
Uh,
I really love this execution. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Really well done.
I cannot wait to see what you've got in store for us. That
All
I've
right,
been
so
looking
let's.
forward to this all week long. Oh, wow. No, I love this. This is fantastic. I
So
can change him. Okay, so you put that more in the middle. Oh, and I'm super jealous of the mandibles. The mandibles really make that. It super makes that kind of creepy and also weirdly infantile all at the same time.
Yes, that's what I was going for. Was weird, grubby, and kind of infantile. I
Yes,
intentionally made
yes.
him fatter. And you know what's funny? I opted for these little kind of literally two-line leg forms. And
Yeah.
once I did that, I was like, you know what? I'm leaning in on that with the butterflies as well. Just the kind of it's a slightly different take than my normal style would draw, and I just thought I would try it,
Yeah.
which was fun.
Oh man. Okay, now you did say that you were going to put butterflies in the background, and I was my first comment because I was re-listening to this. My first comment is you're going to find out those wings are bigger than you expect. You're going to have a hard time doing that. But I was wrong. You actually got three butterflies into your background. I would have never suspected. And you nailed that monarch butterfly pattern, even made it more designerly, more minimalist, but
Yep.
still got that same idea across. Question: did you look up reference for that guy on the right, or is he just kind of free form?
The Are you talking about the caterpillar or are you talking
The
about the
the
butterflies?
green the green butterfly who's sucking on his bottle
Oh,
underneath of his proboscis.
he was freeform. Having having looked at my reference for the main cast member there, I was like, the other ones could just be offshoot butterflies of some type, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that's what I went with there. And I tried to keep the background minimal for the reasons of this was already a wide shot. And
yep,
so I wanted to just focus on whatever characters were populated. The downside of that is I do have a fair amount of negative space north on the comic,
uh-huh,
more than I normally would like to do, but it's fine. It gives you a sense
yeah.
of place. Had I spent more time on it, I should have done what you did, which is a row of alcoholic drinks. That really would have sold the idea that you're somewhere
Uh-huh.
bar wise.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get the idea. What they're holding them on the
Well,
right, and they have wine glasses in front of them on the table there, and
I mean, this is a really great opportunity to talk about some of these compositional issues because, yes, you could have put a row of bottles in the back like I did. However, because you've got so much more detail in the foreground and the middle ground, that background, adding bottles back there would have gotten really busy really fast, and it would have been harder. It would have made that whole scene harder to read. Same thing. I was going to jostle you a little bit about the fact that in this entire bar, there's only one stool. If anybody wants a drink, they gotta push that guy on the left off of his stool because there's no
yeah,
other stools. But in terms if you were designing a bar for people to actually walk into, that would be bad. But designing this bar, you did exactly the right thing because if you put stools in there, it's gonna muddy up that composition where you've got the wine glasses and the nice little vase of flowers and stuff like that. So
yep,
you
yep,
you made the right decision. It's weird to tell somebody that who's just starting out because it's like, well, wait a minute, he didn't draw the rest of the stools. And the answer is, yeah, you're darn right he didn't draw the rest of the stools. That would have totally ruined the scene if you would have
yeah.
done that, you know?
You would have had a lot of conflicting shapes, a lot of tangencies, and a lot of color
Yes.
interactions across the table and the two glasses of wine and the flowers if there were barstool, barstool, barstool. So yeah, that I feel okay with, and that's sort
Yeah.
of a technique. Is I gave them as clean a background, contrasting against them as I could,
Yes.
while still creating the shape of the space there. But yes, but also to your credit, you chose a mirror, which is a clear, fairly simple shape but also fairly simple color space.
Mhm.
And so it lets you know where you are without distracting in the background. So that was also a really good choice on your part.
Yeah, and
Um,
I like the pattern on the back. There, it's very very light, but there it's a flower pattern on the walls, which of
yeah.
course for butterflies would be very appropriate. That's a very nice subtle touch there.
And that's all a hat tip to my colorist Beth, who did a wonderful job. She's always very good
Yeah,
about subtle, and also because I had changed from my normal style of drawing. Like these are not the normal eyes that I draw, for example, and these are not the normal limbs that I draw.
uh-huh.
I told Beth, I said, have a little fun with it and step away from your slightly normal color style, and she did a little bit. There's some
Yeah.
choices here that are different and that she would normally do on a Sheldon. So overall, this came out super fun, and this was really fun to do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a great way of showing that there's more than one way to present an idea. Like
Yeah.
there's some good things and strengths, pros and cons about the way I approached it. There's pros and cons to the way you approached it, but they both turned out to be really, really good comics, and they
Yeah.
took the exact same punchline.
I will say this though, and I'll fall on the sword for this one, and sing praises to my friend. I think my friend Brad nailed his concept better than I did. And so I do think for a younger cartoonist, if you were learning from these two comics, I think Brad got the most efficient information out in a more compact panel, if that makes sense. So I want to tip my hat to you, my friend. I think you did a better job on this one.
Well, see that there's where we that's the first time we're going to argue. I was all
Huh.
ready to point out that you presented the better composition,
Well, come
and
on now.
there's a couple ways that I point to. Now you said I had a little bit too much real estate in the north part of the panel, but take a look at how that corner of the room forms kind of an arrow. That what happens is, of course, because of that orange, your eyes are riveted to the orange. Then it goes up to I can change him. Then you've got a compositional arrow that brings you back down. You get to the brown butterfly, and then around to that caterpillar finally in the green and yellow, which is another warm color that draws us right back up. You have a very nice circular composition going there that is very much worth paying attention to, studying and emulating.
Yeah, I do feel like the one thing that structurally that I like the way that it came out is the primacy of the word balloon with the
Yeah.
action following below it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, very fun to see two totally different approaches, not totally different, but two very different approaches from two different cartoonists. This was fun, my friend. We should do
Yeah.
this every couple 6 months or so.
I was going to say we might have to do this again.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you for doing it. Thank you at home for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you next time on Comic Lab.